All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to the WTCF podcast. It's Charlie here and wanted to go through this week's intention, and maybe this is something that can help you. Um, so this last week, I've been focusing on a quote. It's kind of an alteration of another quote that I've used in the past, but I just like the way that this sounds, and it ended up being something moderately significant. It's do not ask for a lighter burden, but for broader shoulders. And I've used this thought process in the past. It's like, don't ask for an easy life, but the strength to endure a difficult one. I also find it kind of funny. This is exactly something I want to work on for myself anyway, is at least for the quote, is to build broader shoulders. So I've been doing a lot more lateral raises. And when I came across this one, it kind of just hit me in such a weird way that it's like, okay, absolutely going to think about this and work my way through. So as I started to process that intention and get into the week, one of the first things that came to mind is, whenever we start something off new, it can be really difficult. So let's just say, speaking to exercise, because that's the fun one. Speaking to exercise, you start off with an exercise and you can only do 5 pounds, and at first 5 pounds feels really heavy. Then after a while, 5 pounds doesn't seem to be that much of a challenge anymore. So you move up to 8. The 5 pounds doesn't weigh any less. It never did. It weighed 5 pounds. It will forever weigh 5 pounds. That's what's supposed to happen. But you got stronger. So now you're able to get a little bit further with your own weightlifting in that regard, right? So now we've gotten a little bit better. So we should aim to develop, this resilience within ourselves and say, all right, hey, this might be hard for now, but it doesn't mean it's going to be hard forever. So building up to get stronger to endure these things becomes much more of a smart principle for ourselves. So, as we face things and overcome these bigger challenges, we should, process and continue to find growth and adaptation that ultimately will broaden our shoulders, broaden our horizons, continue to get our mind thinking better. So, per our usual, a lot of these points end up becoming the same kinds of things, and maybe I should just write about those one day. Um, Sometimes it's just reframing your challenge. When you have a new opportunity, we can shift it within our heads. So if we're facing a tough, thing at work, it could be something else that'll help us develop. So for me, at work, when I came into the role that I have now, I've actually never worked in something like Power BI, or very rarely. Like, I didn't know much about it, but I was kind of tasked with starting that process and building into it. And now I find myself moderately proficient at it. I did something similar with like SQL coding. Again, having no idea how to do it whatsoever, but now that I'm able to go and find the servers and find the information that I need to do the work I need to do to automate processes around my job. That stuff was always there. It doesn't mean it's getting harder. It just means we're getting better at this stuff. So then, secondly, we practice consistently with consistency, challenging ourselves over and over and over again, whether it be in something that we really like to go do, like a sport or a skill, or, to get good at something else, to continuously come back and try it more and more and more. And so, again, there's no other option but to improve. So that can be one of the biggest, hindrances, is that we try something out for a little bit and we give up. And I've seen it happen within like fitness, where you get involved in the process and well, I've been working out for a couple of weeks and I'm not getting any better. Well, that's not the case. So I was thinking about it because I was watching the show Bob's Burgers the other day, and there's an episode where there's a guy basically rowing a boat across the ocean, and he's going to stop at Bob's Burgers to get something to eat. This is the first time he's been on land in a very long time. So he goes and he gets something to eat, and he decides that he wants to quit. And he's so close to the end. And Bob is going to go help him out because he's going to go down to the pier where the boat is parked illegally, and he's going to try to get the cops to not tow the boat. So Bob ultimately jumps into the boat and starts to row it, and he just needs to get around the pier. And it comes up a couple of other times throughout the series, but I thought this was a really, really good um, justification of like this mindset that doesn't work. He gets about halfway around and he's like, my arms hurt, my back hurts, my feet hurts. Am I buff now? It's not how that works at all. Or I make reference to it a lot at the studio. There's an episode of 30 Rock where Tina Fey's character Liz Lemon gets bunion surgery, and she's like forced to be in a wheelchair. And during the episode, she falls out of the wheelchair and she goes, "Oh, and I spent all that time on that push-up last year." That doesn't mean anything. It's a complete nothing in comparison to the work that we need to continuously, progress towards. Right? Oh, if I did this one thing one time, I deserve. We don't deserve anything. So it's the things that we consistently do and the things that we challenge ourselves to do on a regular basis that are going to improve us. We should also seek out support and learn from other people. This is why We the Collective is around anyway. I wanted to make sure that over time I would surround myself with people who wanted to improve. I've looked at my life and be like, I want to surround myself with people who are ambitious because these are things that I want of myself. And if I learn from those people who are around me, I can learn more about it. And I've learned tons of things from the members thus far, whether it be the skill set of them to do amazing work, their ability to recognize themselves, the strengths that they build. So we even had somebody come in this last week. And again, I had this, I set up the weight and I go, all you're going to do is you're going to take that trap bar and you're going to stand up. And she gets in there and she stands up and she's like, okay, and puts it back down. I go, that was 65 pounds. If I told you it was 65 pounds, would you believe you can do it? Like even earlier this morning, someone was bench pressing. This is the first time they've bench pressed in years. They said they've done it in the past. And I set up the weight because how they were moving, had them start going. They started repping out. They got to 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm like, yeah, that's good. You can put it up. And I go, yeah, if I told you that was 65 pounds, would you have even tried once? So it's not so much that, we would look for things to get easier. If anything, we should look at things to get tougher as we work our way through. Because again, that 5-pound weight was always 5 pounds. The reason it feels light is because you continue to get stronger. Then the last piece is to consider the role of gratitude, to kind of recognize and be thankful that we're able to make progress. For everything that we consider bad within our own life, somebody else would have been like, that would have been the highest of highs. So we take for granted, I almost say granite, but for granted that we can walk and run around. Ask a lot of your, friends as they get up into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, ask them to jump. Their feet won't leave the ground because they gave up on doing it. And you go say, yeah, but jumping's really, really easy. Not for everybody. To do the work, it's not easy for everybody. You might just be special in that regard for the time being because that other person hasn't had an opportunity to learn what you've learned. So again, coming back and feeling thankful for what we're able to do, and then working to support others who are looking to do that for themselves. And like that's the main points that I wanted to make sure that I got through today. So again, being consistent. This is now episode 72. So for 72 weeks, I've been doing this. And, it's not like it's made me any money whatsoever. Some people only do this work if it like makes them something, if they get some return for it. The return that I get out of these ones is one day I can go back and reflect on all of these things. I can go ahead and watch them, or other people might learn something from this down the road. So that's why all of this stuff exists. It exists out on the internet forever. All the articles, all of the work that's here, whether it be the work that I did with Grandis Yoga Lift, or the work that I'm doing with, We the Collective, or the other stuff that I end up doing in the future, whatever that may be. So I just take some time and recognize that I don't want this stuff to get that much easier. Like the challenge that comes with it is part of the reward, because that means I'm improving and I'm getting better and I can take on more. So we'll see how this goes. And just again, to kind of put it out there, I did find interest in running for local government within Franklin Park. I've started to reach out to some other people about helping me. I do need to get myself somebody who can walk me through all the filings. So if you happen to know somebody who can do the filing work and you've made it all the way to here, there's a reason you made it to the end here. Help me do something real tough, like really, really tough. And on that note, good luck.